Hello, today is April 9th, 2009. We're meeting today with Mr.
Tatsuo,
Ma-
Tatsuo Matsuda.
Matsuda
Yeah.
at his home in Pierce, Colorado. My name is Brad Hoops. I'm the interviewer for the Northern Colorado Veterans History Project. Welcome and thank you for sitting down today to tell your story. Let's start, if we could. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your date of birth, where you were born, a little bit about your family.
Well, I was born in California, Watsonville, California, 1918. When I was 3 years old, my mother was sick, so went back to Japan with my sister and my mother, but she died in Japan.
Now, did your parents come from Japan?
Yes,
Okay.
my
Okay.
parents, my grandfather came to the United States in 1905 or so, and my father and brothers came a little bit later.
And so you moved back to Japan at age.
Japan at age 3 years old, and my mother died, so I stayed there
How old were you when your mother died?
I was 3 years old.
Oh, she died as soon as you returned.
Yeah.
And then who raised you?
My grandparents.
Okay. Okay. And so you grew up then in Japan?
Japan, and until I was 19 years old, I went to school over there, from grade school and then high school, and 1 year and a half about that, just a junior college level. When I was 19 years old, I came back to the United States.
Now, while in Japan, now Japan was already at war with China. Was there any concern about you having to serve in the Japanese army, or?
That's one reason I came back to the United States. Is in 1937, Japan and was started the war against China, I guess, Manchukuo incident. When I was 19 years old, I didn't want to be drafted, and besides I had the U.S. citizenship, so I didn't want to miss it, so I came back.
Okay. And you came back to California?
California, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what did you do when you returned to California?
Well, my uncle was a very smart man, and he told me to Tots, you gotta go to school. So I went to school, first about 8 months for grade school. Then the principal said, you're too old to be at grade school, so went to Gonzales High School in California.
Mostly just to learn English?
Yeah, to learn English. That was my idea.
Okay, okay. And how long did you take your schooling then?
Well, you see, I went to school, started in 1937, I came back. I went to school right away, and then in 1938, 39, 40, 41, to high school. I finished high school, in 4 years. I just went through, they gave me diploma.
And
That was 1941 May. But as soon as I finished high school, I was drafted.
oh, in the pre-war draft?
Yeah, pre-war draft.
Okay.
July 7, 1941, I got drafted already.
In what branch of the service?
Was actually was infantry.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it, infantry.
And so you were drafted. Now, where did you go for your basic?
Basically, I went to the Camp Walter, Texas.
Okay.
Camp Walter, Texas.
Okay.
Spent 13 weeks of basic training. Then after that, was shipped to Fort Leonard, Missouri.
And what did you do? Additional training
Well,
there?
additional infantry, training.
Okay.
And now in 1942 October I went to Missouri, but in 1941 December 7th already war broke out.
Now, did you have a feeling that we would eventually be into the war? How was your feeling? What was the feeling?
Well, I didn't know anything about feeling about going to war or anything, but first we heard about Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. Well, has something wrong there.
Yeah.
Because I know they what do you call it, negotiating the peace talk in Washington, but that didn't go through there. So.
Now, did you have any problems with your ancestry as far as discrimination?
No, well, yeah, see, that's the first thing we thought about, discrimination. Usually those Japanese soldiers who were inducted in California, or they're discharged or, but they didn't discharge me, they just kept it about. I still stay there, and then the captain and first sergeant are rather pretty kind, they protected us, they are not Japanese, they are American soldiers,
So there was other men in your unit with Japanese ancestry?
There was 7 of us
Okay.
were in the same outfit,
Okay. Well, now eventually on the West Coast, Japanese Americans were sent off to internment camps.
Yeah.
I imagine many of your relatives were.
Well, that was in 1942. My father and his brother and one friend, they had a relative in Omaha,
Oh, okay.
So they came to Omaha. They voluntarily evacuated to Omaha,
Okay. So most of your family
Yeah,
was
but,
able.
my family, just my father and my uncle's family, was evacuated to Rocky Ford,
Okay. Uh-huh.
But before that, my uncle was, what do you call this, Japanese, I don't know how to say, but he was the kind of big shot in Japanese community.
Okay. Uh-huh.
So naturally, he was FBI came to arrest him. So,
And so he was taken to the camp down.
He was different camp. Those all the Japanese dignitary was all put in a camp and went to some South Dakota, North Dakota, somewhere around there.
Did that bother you at all? The
Oh
fact
yeah, it's bothered me when
because it's such a dark period in American history.
See, because I'm a U.S. soldier.
Yeah.
And, so around that time I was already, I was in Camp Savage. That's language school,
I should back up and ask. You said when you went back to Japan, you went with your mother and your sister.
Yeah, my sister. Yeah.
Now, did she stay back in Japan?
Well, yeah, she was married. I don't know when it was, but when she died anyway. So I didn't have anybody.
Oh. So let's move ahead with your story now. At this point, you went from Missouri, and then from where to Missouri?
Missouri to Camp Savage.
And where was Camp Savage?
Camp Savage is southeast of 15 miles southeast of on southwest of Minneapolis.
Okay.
Little town of Camp Savage,
Okay. And once again for additional training, or
well, that's where they trying to teach me Japanese. See?
Oh, really?
But I knew all the Japanese, so.
Okay, and then from there, where did?
Well, you see that December 42, I went to school there, and then a 6 months course, 1943 June I finished school, and then about another 4 more months, so I stayed around Fort Snelling. From there, I went to shipped overseas. I think October 43, I was shipped overseas.
To where did you ship to?
To New Caledonia.
Okay.
That's the invocation point,
Okay. And you were sent over. You said you were in Army intelligence at this point. And your responsibility would have been to what, intercept Japanese?
Yeah, well, Japanese but scan the Japanese document.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then important thing, we just translate into English and give to the...
Okay. And this was in New Caledonia. Did you stay in New Caledonia the whole time, or did you?
No, not now. Just embarkation point, so we stayed there maybe not even a couple of weeks there. After that, we shipped to the Guadalcanal. Guadalcanal campaign was all over then, We went to Guadalcanal. I don't know how many days I stayed there, about 4 or 5 days to help the loading up those ships, LST, small ship, We're going to Bougainville Island. The second Bougainville campaign. First one was Marine kind went in there and messed up, and then second campaign, that's what we went to.
And you would follow the battles as they moved up. Now, were you ever involved in translating for prisoners?
Sure. Yeah, we see that. And, Japanese prisoners had to come by because they are told not to surrender. If they do, you're going to be mistreated. But we found 5 prisoners came. And then we asked questions, and by God, they told us everything. In order to do that, you have to treat them really nice, We give them nice, clean clothes, offer the cigarette, or first a shower, like that. Then pretty soon they start talking, We found out important information that time too, on the Bougainville,
Now, you said originally in Missouri there was 7 of you with Japanese ancestry. Now, did you stay together the whole time?
No, see, not only one. I went to the Camp Savage. I don't know what the rest of them. I think they went to the Europe side,
Yeah, because I was always under the impression that most of the Japanese American soldiers went to Europe. So
but I was the only one went to the Camp Savage that time, out of my outfit, The rest of I don't know where they went.
Well, now once in Asia or in the Pacific, was there other Japanese Americans?
Oh yeah, you see this Camp Savage was the language school, so they drafted a lot of Japanese speaking, some are good, some are bad, but I think almost like how many? 6,000 people went through there. They went to overseas.
Oh, really? Okay. I imagine because of the suspicion and such, you had to be checked out with the FBI and.
Well, I don't know if they investigated me or not, but when I went to, at the Fort Leonard, when they came to interview, his name was Captain Fisher, not Fisher, Captain Dickey. He asked me, are you loyal to Hirohito or Roosevelt? He asked me such a question. So I said, well, sir, I am just U.S. soldier. That was my answer.
Yeah.
He didn't ask me anymore. But somehow they sent me to Camp Savage then.
Okay. And then, you moved up closer to Japan as the battles moved.
Yeah.
And where did you go from?
From that, the Bougainville Island, we stayed there on Bougainville Island for 365 days.
Oh, really?
I remember that. And my outfit was 14 score. Japan, not Japan, like American organization is squad, platoon, and company, battalion, and regiment, and division, and then 3 division makes about corps, My corps was 14th Corps.
14th Corps.
14th Corps headquarters.
And you have divisions, and
Yeah, division not under the 14th Corps. You know,
what was your division, or your division and
well,
squad?
division was, I think I remember 37th Division, American Division was under the 14th Corps. There another division was them. I don't know which one. I forgot. 37th American was 14th Corps.
Okay, okay. And then after your year there, where did you move to?
But you see, from there went to the Philippine Island. That was January 8, 1945, Lingayen Gulf. That's why we landed.
Okay. And once again,
Yeah, then
continued.
from Lingayen Gulf toward the Manila, and then from there we stayed in Manila for I don't know how long, and from there the Yamashita was the Japanese, general. He was controlling Philippine Island, and U.S. fought against the Japanese army,
And this whole time you're scanning documents and and translating. Okay.
And asking questions to prisoner. Also, we made that leaflet, leaflet document
to drop
into to surrender. See, because war was getting toward the end already, But those Japanese soldiers, they're winning, they're tough, see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're already end of the war then,
So you were on the Philippine Islands when the war ended?
Yeah, August 15 war ended. I was in Philippine town named Pampanga, Philippines, almost central Luzon Island, I think it was.
Do you remember where you were when you heard that we had dropped the atomic bomb?
I was in Philippine Islands.
Yeah. Did you have any idea what this thing was?
No, I didn't know what it was. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah. And then from the Philippines, and the war's ended now. Is that where you finished out and returned home, or did you
No.
get involved with the occupation forces?
Yeah. You see, that when the war ended, August 15, then we shipped to Sendai, occupation force. Sendai is the northern part of Japan,
Is it anywhere near where your family?
No, my family was Hiroshima.
Okay.
Excuse me. Hiroshima is farther west, and Sendai is northeast of Tokyo.
Okay. Did you, while there as a part of the occupation force, did you ever have a chance to travel over to?
No, I didn't have any chance,
No.
because I went to Japan I think September 5th to 7th. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed in Sendai until October 45, and then I got ordered to go back to U.S. Excuse me.
Would you like to get a drink?
Well,
Now while you're in Japan, was your responsibility once again a lot of translation?
no, most likely by liaison between the U.S. Army and the Japanese government, and talk to Japanese people, and we helped Japanese laborers used to unload a lot of U.S. goods, and we were there to supervise them.
Did you have a lot of interaction with the Japanese people, the civilians?
Well, we not hired, but U.S. Army was got hired a lot of people at the headquarters, you know. And I get that gun. And some are doing housework, and I mean cleaning up the room. It's no good.
So you were talking there at headquarters. They hired many civilians,
Yeah, yeah.
and you were responsible for
For the, you know, like I don't know how many, quite a few. Our guy was there, but 15, 20 people were there, you know. So they could turn to do the, you know, the supervising like that, you know. And I went to with U.S. medical officer to a university medical place, and you know, we told him like, if you need help, we could always help you, like that kind of, and that kind of stuff, you know. It just more or less between the Japanese government and U.S. government, you know. Yeah.
Now, while in Japan, was there quite a bit of damage?
Oh yeah, you know, Sendai was damaged, pretty badly damaged too, you know.
And then, so after, you said in October of 45,
Yeah.
then you got your transfer papers?
Yeah, all of came back, you know. So I got discharged on November 15, 45.
45.
Yeah.
And then you returned to,
Yeah.
where did you go, to California or Omaha? Or?
No. I got discharged in Fort Logan, Colorado, you know. And then I went to Larimer Street, you know. There's a lot of Japanese living there, you know.
Where's that?
Larimer Street. You know Larimer Street?
Larimer Street.
Yeah,
Okay.
Larimer Street.
Okay.
There are a lot of Japanese living there after the war, you know, already. Because they came out of the camp before that war ended anyway.
The camp down in southern Colorado?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there are a lot of people living in Larimer Street, and I happened to be at a cafe, and I saw one of the old friends from California. You know.
Is that right? Yeah.
And I told him I got out of the army. I don't know where my folks are, you know. And he said, I know where they live. So he took me to Pierce, here Pierce, you know. Pierce, that there is my uncle was already out of the camp, you know, and my cousin was still in the army. Yeah. He was in Camp Savage, not Camp Savage, Fort Snelling, military intelligence too, you know. So I came back here, that's where my father was.
Your father was here in Pierce as well with your uncle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you came and lived with him, and
I lived there, I don't know how long. Came back in 1945, and then in 46 I married to my wife.
now, was she from Pierce, or how did you meet your wife?
See that? That's a nice story. There,
Yeah,
you know.
please tell it.
My wife is one of my buddy went overseas together, you know. His name is Roy Fuji, you know. And he was with me overseas, but he was kind of smart one, so he was sent back to go to the OCS, Officers Candidate School, you know. That was from Philippines he came back, you know. And that was the beginning of that thing that, he told me I have a sister, So somehow we corresponded with this young lady. Her name is Alyce, I got a picture of her. And we got married in 1946, December 11. And we've been married for 63 years, but like I said, she has been sick for the last 5 years.
Right.
She just died February 25th, and just about months ago.
Yeah. Now you said so. This was your buddy's sister, correct? Is that?
Yeah.
And what, you started corresponding with her, or how did you?
Well, when he sent back to where she is, I had a kind of broken watch, So I told him to take this back and fix and send me back, Somehow he gave that watch to my future wife, She don't fix it and send me back to overseas, So naturally I thank you later like that, it's a kind of correspondence.
Yeah. And so that's how it started.
Yeah,
a watch, huh?
That's where it started. And watch, my son said, "Hey, Dad, where's the watch at?" I'm pretty sure downstairs somewhere,
Yeah.
She'd like to see the watch, he said, like that.
Well, now where was she living at the time?
He was in San Luis Valley.
Oh, okay. And then when you returned back to the States, did you go see her directly, or how did you?
Well, I didn't go see her right away, but since I knew the brother came from San Luis Valley, I visited the family down there, see. And that time I saw her first time, see.
And was it love at first sight?
No, I don't think so. In Japanese way of marriage, no such thing as love first sight, They used to go between,
And then how long did you date, or before you finally married then?
We didn't date too much because she lived in San Luis Valley, I was here, see. You can date, it's 1946, just the one. I think I had 1941 Chevrolet Coupe, it's pretty far away from here. There are almost 350 miles, You can
Right.
date, so.
Well, how did you manage to
keep
it together then?
That's what I say, go between guys.
Yeah.
Go between, That you have you and your girl they can get married, but there's some old guy came to your side and her side. They talk things over,
Oh, I see.
That's the go between.
Okay.
So whether you like her and she likes you or not, that's out of the question. Those two people are gonna we're gonna make this marriage work out. They make
Kind of like almost like a prearranged wedding.
Yeah, just like prearranged.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
That Japanese style. But now they don't have that in Japan.
Sure. Yeah. So you married, you said in 1946?
1946 December, yeah.
Okay, and then once married, where did you continue your story then?
Well, you see, she is a farm girl, She was pretty good in the farming. I didn't know anything about farming, but she wanted to do the farming, so we start farming, and a little thing like cabbage growing, onion growing, about 20 acres like that. That's how we started.
A truck farm is what they call it?
Yeah, truck farm, because we didn't have no truck or anything, just a rent of the ground, That's how we started farming. But she was good in transplanting cabbage, she was good. That's why I used to grow cabbage in Sunrise Valley. But they didn't grow onion there. But I was taught to grow onion because around that time, Japanese farmer was a small farmer, They used to grow onion, small onion and cabbage. That's how those Japanese started. And then now they got big, That's how they started, actually.
Now, where was this first farm that you?
I started farming in Gill.
Oh, okay. So you returned. You had married and returned to Colorado.
Yeah. She married in Denver.
Okay.
And lived in Pierce for a while. That they went to Gill.
Okay.
That's why they start farming there. We stayed here about 46, 7, 8, 9, 5 years stayed here. Then moved to Pierce. My cousin found little farm. This over there. You could see from the house over there. That's where I moved. I first moved there. Only 2-room house, but they added on extra room. I farmed there until my daughter went to college. That's almost like 19. I bought this house in 1972. I think she just finished college and found a job in Nebraska. So she was living in the loom there for a while, in that loom.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And my son was already finished high school and went to the CSU. She was in dormitory in the CSU, and so I was in. I got stuck with what happened there, just stuck. I was already finished CSU and found a job in Denver, She was doing this construction work, building the house.
And at that point, is that when you retired from farming then?
Well, when I retired farming, I farmed until I was 1982. 1982, I was about 64 years old then. I quit farming because everything was going up sky high. Interest was 20%, 26%. And if I keep going farming, I have to buy bigger equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes more money.
Sure.
You borrow more money, you got to pay back with higher interest. I told my wife, I'm not going to go farm anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I quit farming. That time I bought this house already, because they built in a house over here. So I think I was living in 3 miles northeast over here, 2-story house, junk house, and I'm going to buy a house in Pierce. So I bought this house. This location was too good, but I bought it,
Mm-hmm.
And the house was pretty cheap then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you retired from farming, how big of a farm at this point?
Well, you see that I started farming. It was a little bit of a ground, then start increasing acreage, because I used to farm for that guy named Dick Wood. He's a big guy and pretty shrewd. He's a pretty smart guy. And he bought that place, and so I started farming there. Then he bought more ground south, so I had more farm, And I used to farm almost 240 acres,
Almost 10 times the size of your first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said when you got into it, you weren't a farmer.
No, I didn't know how to farm anyway.
Is it a career that you enjoyed when?
Well, when I started farming, you can't quit anymore. See, so you gotta, whether you like it or not, you have to enjoy it. You know, you gotta do the irrigation. You know, irrigation. Like you gotta watch the water. You know, like that. You know, but I kept going until 1980 or 84. I did. You know, I decided to quit because everything's so high. You know.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
think that was the best decision I made anyway.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you just went in and enjoyed your retirement, or did
Well,
you go?
yeah, you see that after I quit farming, I worked for town affairs 3 years.
Okay.
I was a town man, you know. See.
Okay.
Town man did everything, you know. Town. I picked up the trashes, I watered the lawn, I mowed the lawn, I meter water meter, you know. Well, I did everything for the town affairs, you know. Very cheap salary anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then after that, 3 years, I think I retired because I became 65, 66 already, you know. So
Right. Right.
I finally decided to quit, you know. See, my wife is still working at university, you know.
Okay.
And well, anyway, after after I quit, I didn't do too much at home. I just she used to grow a lot of flowers here, you know. So I used to spade the ground, make a room for her to grow a lot of flowers, you know. And like that, I just do this and that, and we used to go out and she used to like the fishing too, you know.
Yeah.
We used to take her fishing almost every weekend, you know, let's go fishing, you know.
Wow. And you said about 5 years ago she came down with
Yeah,
Alzheimer's
Alzheimer's
and just passed away a month ago.
2 months ago, yeah.
Wow. Have you ever had a chance to travel back to Japan?
Oh, well, yeah, you see, 1983, we went back to Japan, you know. And that time, I think we had about 40 people, tour group, you know, formed from the Buddhist church of Denver, you know.
Uh-huh.
And took my wife with me, and 3 weeks tour, you know, in Japan, and Tokyo, and from Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, went to Kyushu, and then I came back to Hiroshima. That's where my folks were, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I stayed for 1 week. Then while there, visited this Hiroshima city, you know, the bombed, you know. It was, they had this peace park then. You know,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So it must have been a big change for you to see from when you grew up and from when you
when I grew up, it was, you know, the city was narrow and a dirt road and all that, you know. I didn't see any paved road at all when I was going to school there in Hiroshima. I went to school in Hiroshima for 5 years anyway, you know, but always a dirt road, you know.
And now it's a modern city.
Modern city, you know, and amazing, you know, how badly that damage I saw, that the picture of this bomb, you know. I remember that little center of the bomb fell, that little museum thing, you know, still standing there. I used to go by there all the time, you know.
Wow. Wow. Do you still have relatives in Japan, or
Well, I have
distant?
I have my 2 nieces and two nephew and 1 niece and also my stepbrother. He's just about dead now, and then a few other friends, but all the friends is all actually gone, actually. So,
And you said your sister died as well?
yeah, my sister died. I don't know when was that, but she had the 3 kids. That's my 2 nephews and 1 niece. And her husband was killed overseas too. That's when, like I said, I went to Luzon Island January 8, 1945. And before then, in Japan Navy and the American Navy was exchanged a battle in there, and he was one of the this Japanese ship to take in all the troops to front.
Uh-huh.
That ship was sunk. So that's how he was killed. I read about that in Japanese history. He was killed on that deal.
But your sister survived the war?
Yeah, well, my sister survived. She had a bad case of rheumatism. She died after. I don't know when was that. She died, and she left the 3 kids. 3 kids were doing pretty good. They're all grandparents anyway.
Yeah. Over the years, did you ever stay in touch with buddies from the Army? Of course, your brother-in-law.
Yeah. I used to know a guy named Roy Wayhata. I got to know him ever since I went to the New Caledonia. He was first class of a Camp Savage class. I was second class, but he was first class. He was already in overseas and went through the Guadalcanal, campaign. And we got together from Caledonia to the second Bougainville campaign. We got together all the way, and then he got promoted to first lieutenant, no, second lieutenant in Philippines just before the war ended. And after that, so he had been an officer and I'm just an enlistment. We didn't go together to Japan, but he came home somehow. And then after he came back to California, he organized this military intelligence service club like that, like this one here. He was in California, and I saw him at the reunion in 1987, reunion in Reno.
So you would go back for your reunions?
Yeah, reunion, go back to reunion, And that time I saw him first time, and we got together. And then after that we corresponded until he died, So he was my best war. Yeah.
Now, these classes at Camp Salvage, were they made up entirely of Japanese Americans?
Well, no, mostly Japanese American, but the Caucasian, But Caucasian, if you speak a little bit Japanese, they became officer.
So you think there was some discrimination
Oh,
there?
yeah, there's a lot of discrimination there. They shouldn't be a officer. Japanese speaking, us guys should be officer.
Yeah.
But the officer is hard to come by for the American Japanese. Well, that's a lot of discrimination.
Well, you said your commander in Missouri was kind and protected you.
Yeah.
But once you got away from him, when you didn't have that protection, did you get a lot of discrimination as you?
No,
No?
see that. Once I went to Camp Savage, that's nothing but Japanese American,
Oh, okay.
So there's no discrimination to speak of. As the commander of the school principal was the name is Rasmussen, he was in school. Like I said, Japanese American didn't get the officers,
Yeah.
Later on, you get a lot of officers, because my brother-in-law came back to OCS and got the.
And no problem once you got overseas and were on the battlefront with other soldiers. No problems at all.
No, we didn't have any
Yeah.
problem. They, usually if they see Japanese, they shoot from back. But they didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then how about once you were out of the war and back home in the States? Was there any problems there at all?
I came back here. I didn't see any
Okay.
discrimination except one guy, old man, he didn't like the Japanese at all. But all the rest of the old Japanese, American people, they're all kind,
Okay.
And one of the people, Spangler, that's how my uncle stayed there, about 2 miles west of here, he used to farm over there, that's where he started farming. And blacksmiths, and pretty kind, all old people, pretty kind, except one guy was kind of Japanese hater,
Well, we can start to wind down this interview. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you would like to talk about? Any stories that we left out? I don't want to leave out anything on this tape that I forgot to ask.
I don't know. I was reading this. It said, see, when I speak, I don't speak good, so that's why I kind of all mixed up.
No, I think you've done very well. Yeah. How was it for you to go from civilian life into military life? Was that much of a change, a transition for you?
Well, you see that, like I said, in 1941, I just finished school, high school, In May, and then July, I was already drafted, see. So, I don't know, sudden change of, become civilian to soldier, that was a sudden change, I guess,
And how about after being, because you were in the military for a very long time, from 41.
Yeah, I was 4 years and 4 months and 9 days, exact days.
Yeah. How was it then going from being in the military for that long period of time, now going back to civilian life? Was that much of an adjustment for you?
Well, you see, like I said, I didn't know how to farm, but my wife liked farming, see? So that's quite a bit of the, you see, my cousin, he taught me how to farm anyway, and see, we didn't have no tractor or nothing, so. Well, anyway, that's from soldier to become a civilian life to be a farmer. That's quite a bit.
Quite an adjustment.
Yeah. If I knew how to farm before I went to overseas, the difference. I didn't know how to farm.
Right.
But my wife liked to farm,
And you had good years. I mean, in farming you have good years and bad years.
Well, yeah, onion, cabbage, onion. If you hit even small acres, if you hit a nice, good price, or you make money in that. That's how the Japanese kind of became bigger and bigger, you know. See. Nowadays, onions they grow by big acres, you know, that do by machinery, you know. They don't hire no labor to do onion weeding like that. You know,
Yeah.
all spray the weeds and like that.
Yeah.
So we used to do everything by hand, you know.
So you've seen a lot of changes just in that time period of farming. Yeah. How do you think that period that you were in the military, how do you think that affected your life or changed your life, or did it? Was it just 4 years in your life, or did it have an effect on you that carried on with you in your life, do you think?
Well, I don't know how to answer that, but
Or did it? Maybe it didn't. Maybe it was just 4 years.
well, it just come natural, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as we close this interview off, is there anything you would like to say to end this interview, to wrap this interview up? Anything at all that you'd like to make as a closing statement to anybody that may see this in the future?
Well, anyway, this war, you know, is really nothing but discrimination to start with, anyway, you know. But we Japanese Americans fought for the two wars actually, against the enemy, against this discrimination, and then I think, and on the end, we won everything because we got this more or less Japanese people got the citizenship, you know. I hope there's no other discrimination. I bet there's some yet, but you know.
Yeah. It's a shame because it's
Yeah,
such a a dark period in our history, for sure.
Yeah, that was a bad deal that you know,
Yeah.
they put them in the camp. But I wasn't there, so I didn't know. See, so
Yeah.
they asked me, "Hey, you were in camp, weren't you?" No, I wasn't in camp. I was army camp, you know. Different camps, you know.
Yeah. Well, Tatsuo, I want to thank you very much for your time today, telling us your story. More importantly, I want to thank you for your service to our country.
Well, I don't know what to say to that, but I don't think I did too good a job anyway, see, so
I think it was very good.
I don't think so.
Thank you very much.